Ladies and gentlemen, I am the next gem of great British wrestling ring announcing, Adam Blackburn, and you are listening to the new Great British podcast, Submit Wrestling Cards, with your hosts, Jack and Kev.
Hello and welcome to a main event episode of Submit Wrestling Cards podcast here. My name is Jack and I am here with my wondiferous, let's use that as a word for today, co-host. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, Kevin Williams, thank you very much, Jack. Such an honour to have a great guest with us today on Submit Wrestling Cards, and that is our good friend, Pablo.
Hello.
Hello, Pablo.
How are you doing? You all right?
Love it. All good, my mate.
Yeah, I'm and with the podcast that I do as well, I try and come up with really clever intros, and I usually, if it's like Joey Knight or someone like that, I'm usually like, it's the bow to my Blake or something like that. And I'm running out of ideas already. Like, I'm trying to make them clever. I think the week we announced the Killer Bees for the for Cella figures, I think I called him the Killer Bee to my Macaulay Culkin in My Girl, which implied that he would be the death
Brilliant.
of me quite. Anyway.
Is it true that episode got taken off air? Definitely. I do listen to your podcast, Pablo, obviously with Foxy. Very good. Is there anything lined up with that in the future, or?
With the Cella stuff, we've got the Barry Darso interview still to come, which isn't up yet. And it's partly because let's get the Cella stuff out of the way, because I think people know that I'm doing stuff with Cella now, and my inbox is full of like, where's me order? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not, I don't know where it is. So I'm in contact with Charles, basically. Charles he's put a thing out there, tons of personal stuff going on. He's not the best at replying to stuff, which is why he's got me. But at the same time, I can't reply to stuff unless I have information. And I'm getting the information from Charles, but it's not constant at the moment. All I can say to everyone is, because I've seen figures and stuff, is you will be getting your Big Daddy, your Giant Haystacks, your Atom Bombs, your Dynamite Kids very, very soon if you haven't started receiving them already. So don't write me letters. Don't write me angry letters, please. But yes, that's I think let's get that out of the way. And this isn't a wrestling figure podcast anyway, is it really? So there we are.
No,
well, we're going to put your address up.
Yeah, we touch upon figures every now and then, because I think there's a really, we've mentioned it quite a few times, and it's quite a good talking point that we've gone through a few times, is that you can certainly see the sort of trend in figures, cards, and merchandise at certain times throughout over the last 20 or 30 years, and you can see where things sort of peak and dip. And I think this is a really interesting point just to touch on. I know we're not really figures, but obviously you have Mattel and their official, let's say, retro line, and I know the word official there is slightly jaded because of the other licenses that other companies such as Cella do get. Where do you find the progression of such things like Cella and Zombie Sailor and things like that, where they're trying to hunt down these licenses for people? Is it something, is that well going to dry up at some point where they've kind of accumulated as many licenses as they possibly can do before Mattel snap them all up and cease them from going elsewhere? Do you think that's something that's going to happen, or are those licenses going to keep coming in regardless?
I think that Cella have been smart, and I've seen Zombie do this as well. And there's like CWF, other companies as well, where they're going for names that WWE will never ever touch ever. And we're at a point now, it's this crazy point in time where no name is off the table anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if a company does a Chris Benoit figure at some point. At this point, since AEW are doing an Owen Hart figure, Zombie have done a Dino Bravo figure. These are people who died under very, questionable circumstances and have a ton of an aura of what's the word? like, there's a dodginess about
negativity.
them.
There's a darkness.
Yeah, it's a negativity.
Dark side of the ring.
The dark
Let's say
side,
that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. I don't know why, but anyway, but controversial, I should say. So they are starting to look at independent names, and one advantage that I find Chala has is that they are British and can go after a lot of the old World of Sport names, and also I don't know, but I would think that newer British names aren't off the table, and they can also work independently with names as well. Look at Joey Knight, and I'm sure there are more names that they're going to be working with as well on that kind of basis. So in terms of, I think Mattel realistically, and this is stuff that I probably couldn't say on our podcast, but they just had San Diego Comic-Con, and Mattel really showed that they meant business with some of the names that they signed. They signed Jarrett. I mean, Jarrett's getting figures now. There's a Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine, which came out a day before the channel went up for pre-order. So me eye nearly came out me ear, you know what I mean, when I saw it. So, but the thing is as well, though, like, I understand what they're doing with that particular 4-pack of figures, because these are ones that should have been released back in the day. Prototypes were made, and they're paying homage to that, I guess. So their Greg Valentine looks like the old prototype, whereas ours is brand new, sculpted from head to toe in terms of the look, etc. And I don't want to be biased, but I think ours does look better. But the WWE one certainly fits the bill for if you want that unreleased prototype style Greg Valentine that only Matt Cardona has, and he paid like 20 grand or something ridiculous for it. So, I think there's always going to be names. There's a short answer to your long question. There's always going to be names out there to sign, but I think that the big names, eventually that could dry up. And I think in terms of like filling gaps in the collection as well, all companies are finding names that Hasbro didn't make back in the day, but Cella are also making bone crunching wrestler style figures. They're making elite style figures as well. And they're able to do that as well, because I know there was controversy over mechanisms and stuff, and whether they were just the people were even saying that they were just buying Mattel figures and just putting a new head on them. It's like, no, that's definitely not the case. So yeah, I think there's always going to be, and it's a hot this is the golden era of figure collecting at the moment, I would say, because every name can be made. There's probably less people buying figures, but I think those less people are willing to spend more money on those figures. It's probably the same with cards as well, where it's become real, not too niche, because you can still get new cards from WH Smith and from Tesco and stuff like that, whereas figures are becoming like internet exclusives and stuff. But I mean, it's the same thing happening with cards. I love that living set. It's a shame that set ended, really, because I think they were just scratching the surface of what they could have done. But yeah,
very cool. With cards, then, Pablo, would Cella ever have a go at making some wrestling trading cards? That's something I'd love to get my hands on, and they are. What breaking news, everyone! That's really nice to hear. So, got any more on that?
Well, the bone crunching wrestler figures, bone crushing wrestlers, I should say. So they will come with trading cards. So there's, out of the names being announced so far, there's Blue Meanie, there's Dwayne Gill. We know there's a Sonny Ono and Ultimo Dragon. It's all names that were around from 95 to 99. So it's not out, it's timeline wise, all the figures should fit in, that style. Obviously, Adam Bomb. Who else can I say? Because there's some names that I'm not allowed to say, but Randy Savage, so there's a lot of names that are, and they will all come with trading cards. There's a nice, succinct, actual answer to your question there, because I don't want to sound like a politician when talking about Chalice Secrets, But they will become with trading cards, which is great.
That's good. That's really good. It's nice to hear, and I think again, the certain figures, the cards were collectible that came in the packs, so that's always an added bonus. It ticks off 2 boxes. The figure and the card market does both in the same stroke of the pen. It ticks both of them.
Well, Cardona's lot who are doing the bendy figures, and I'm really digging those because they're making, not only are they making old figures with attires that you've always wanted, like the Jeff Jarrett and his In Your House 2 gear, they're making actual unreleased ones from back in the day, like the Adam Bomb. And if you remember those, the original bendies or bendums would have perforated cards in the back that you could pull out and they would have cool artwork. So they've put them on these new ones as well, but they're not perforated. So it's up to you if you want to cut them out or not. But then, yeah, that's the other thing as well. Like, sorry, go for it.
Yeah, it's good that yesterday I picked up a Mankind version of that with the bendies, and it's good that because you'd get with the action figure and you get to the card collecting too. So it's a nice bridge between both, really. But one thing I was going to ask you though, Pablo, you mentioned about Matt Cardona, awesome collection, done a lot for the wrestling trading cards, wrestling collecting, really, figures. And one thing I always think is that the British scene has always been missing. So any chance of more British guys to come, maybe like a Pat Roach, or I think we've got Adrian Street, isn't it? And Cat Weasel.
There was an
Mark
announcement.
Rocco.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's Big Daddy Giant Haystacks coming out as part of the Wrestling Megastars line, but there was an announcement that the British Wrestling Icons line. Now, this was a little while ago, so I don't know what the status is of that, but it was launched with Adrian Street, and from what I hear, the plan is to make a lot of names, from everything from back in the 60s and 70s all the way to the present day. So when you think of who could include, that's quite exciting. But I don't know any of the other British wrestling icon names that have been signed beyond Adrian Street. But I mean, that's such a great way to start it. The attire, I've seen the picture of the attire, and it's just as classic as it gets. And I mean, I've got an Adrian Street album on the wall signed by him and Linda. I love Adrian Street. He's great. I want to get a picture of, do you know the picture where he goes back down the mine in full costume and his dad's working down the pit and they're behind the cage and they've all got coal all over the face and stuff and they all look miserable and then he stood in front of them like, looking fabulous like that. Like, I want to try and get that as a print and put it on my wall somewhere. Wow. Get him to sign it if I can. But we also need some British trading card lines, I think. That would be cool. More of that.
Definitely. Oh, that needs that. Well, obviously we keep banging on Adam. He's had his Arcadian Wrestling, so who knows? We might get a British wrestling set, and we'll leave that to you, Pablo.
I don't have any sway. Like, if I'm coming across like I've got any say in what happens, I really don't. I do suggest ring attires sometimes, and they do go for it, and I'm just like, I feel like a god. I've just, they've listened to me, which is great, but. Yeah,
amazing to hear, buddy. Yeah. Another thing, like we know about yourself, you've interviewed some amazing wrestlers, some talent. How's that been for you? Did you ever get nervous, or is it just another day at the office now, I suppose?
No, it's never nervous, but it's always excitement. It never gets old. When I'm emailing back and forth with Barry Darso, and I'm just like, wow, what's going on in life? You know what I mean? So the first wrestler I ever interviewed was Rick Bogner, the Fake Razor Ramon, and he was just so polite. He was just on Facebook, and I thought, right, because I was interviewing musicians and stuff like that, and I thought, right, I'll just, you never know. But the thing is, he was doing motivational speaking as well, so he had other things to promote. So that is how I've been lucky enough. If they have something else to promote, it really helps. But it's not like you can go for big names straight away. I mean, and the thing is, though, don't get me wrong, if I interviewed The Undertaker tomorrow, that would be wonderful. But the fact that I've interviewed Al Snow or Todd Pettingill or something like that to me is just as exciting as if Bret Hart came to me tomorrow and said that you'd be up for an interview. Anyone from that time period, I'm a huge fan of, and in a lot of ways, I actually specifically try and find those names. And don't get me wrong, it helps if Chella's making a figure of them, because again, they've got something to promote.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Well, you're just a fan.
when you've interviewed someone? Sorry, Kev, but I'll just jump in. When you've interviewed someone on your show, have you ever asked a question that's kind of really bombed, and you've almost felt that you've asked it? They've not said, don't talk about this subject. They've not mentioned that, but you've asked something and you've immediately regretted and thought, "Oh no, I really don't think they would have wanted to talk about that." But it's out there now, and let's see how that goes. Have you ever done that? Has that ever happened?
Oh, nothing. I don't think anything's come to mind, but I think I've liked every interview I've done. You get short shrift from some of the guests, and you'd have to listen to some of the shows, and you'll be able to tell who, because I don't want to drop anyone's name in it. But I think realistically, if there's one show that I was like, oh, why'd I put that out there? I interviewed Effie, which was great, tons of fun. But I think we set like gay rights back about 50 years with some of the filth that we were chatting on it. It was fun. But it might be a reason why he hasn't said yes to coming back on, but that was fun. And I think there's a couple like that. Maybe I don't know, I don't want to drop names, but there's certainly been it's not like when Rob Feinstein that one time asked Ken Patera about what it was like in prison after he threw the boulder through McDonald's window, and then Ken Patera was like, "I'm not talking about this," and then threw the table upside down. I haven't quite reached that point yet, but I can tell. You can usually tell Russell start looking at the watches when.
I'm just hearing the Hoover's on. I need to go and switch the Hoover off, and then it'll leave the screen.
Well, I'll tell you what though. I interviewed Sid, and that was mental. And I was like, right, I've got a list of things I will not talk to him about, because he was starting his own podcast. So I was like, right, the leg, softball, shitting himself, scissors, a few other things I can't remember what, but I was like, right, I won't ask him about them.
Yeah, I think the leg would be the top. Yeah, the top one, I think, would the leg. Well, actually, I don't know. Yeah, the leg or the shit himself. I don't know which would be more embarrassing. I don't know.
He wouldn't answer them anyway, not because he didn't want to answer them. He just saving them for his podcast, and I totally get that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would like to think we can go into. I like find. Do you remember that night that you wore yellow socks instead of green socks? Like, what was that about? And then they can't remember because it was 48 years ago. And but I like talking to them about their memorabilia as well, which is quite fun.
Yeah, Bob, big man on the memorabilia, Pablo. I know that yourself. So I'm going to ask you now a few questions, if that's all right. So, what's your earliest memories of wrestling, and what made you a fan for that?
Oh, I didn't know wrestling existed until Christmas '92, so literally 30 years. And I got a WCW ring, and I got it was a Ric Flair. It came with a Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, I think, and then I also got an Undertaker, Big Boss Man. Didn't know what it was, but I was just fascinated by it. And then I got the Mega Matches tape. That was the first tape I ever got, and then. Didn't have Sky, so I was relying on friends' parents to record and stuff like that. And and then I had to. The only things that you could realistically get, luckily, it was the height of British unofficial magazines in shops, tons of them, because of SummerSlam selling out Wembley Stadium and all that kind of thing. So everyone jumped on it. So some of the earliest magazines I remember talked about Andre and Kerry Von Erich like dying at the same time, and but they were like the most affordable things as well, so you could get those. And then I remember it was the Sun or the Daily Mirror or something like that. And if I ever found one again, I would love it. But they had you cut the tokens out, and then you had to save 5 of them, and then you got the free sticker album that year, the Bret Hart one. And then then you spent your life on buying stickers for a bit. And then I've never completed an album back then in real time, because they would just stop selling them, and I didn't think to send away for spares and stuff like that. So it's all been completing them retrospectively, I guess. But those are my first earliest memories of wrestling.
Yeah. You mentioned there about the stickers, because like your local newsagents would have one box of wrestling stickers, and that was it. It was like once that box had gone, and bear in mind there'd be 10 kids chasing it, it was like we all had 38 stickers in each album. So that's how it worked back then.
It was only my conspiracy theory that like no one else had or cared about, but that 93 album, Jimmy Hart's on the back page, I think, or is it Brutus? No, it's Mega Maniacs, and I think Jimmy Hart's on the back page, but there's a picture of all three of them together. And because Hogan and Beefcake were on the free, Jimmy Hart himself, I was like, well, it doesn't go in number 186, it goes in 142. And I like stood by that for years as well. But obviously I was very, very wrong on that. But yeah. I remember the 95
just
sticker album. Sorry.
Oh, that was gold dust, the 95 sticker album. It is so hard to find.
It was, and then it seemed like there were no sticker albums. Actually, I can probably maybe give you something that you've never heard before, which is pretty big. Unless you have heard it, and then I do apologize. But and then you can cut it all up. But because there was nothing from 95 to like 99, that sticker album that came out with the red cover, the one before the metal cover, and then all of a sudden that 97 sticker album showed up from Panini, the one a couple of years ago that everyone's been going mad over because the rookie
with the rock in,
the rock in it,
that's
it. People make such a
it's ridiculous. I just we'll skip past that because
can I just say
it's a ridiculous point.
One of those Rocky Maivia stickers on his page is him getting drop kicked off Owen Hart, and I'm just like, well, do people really want that? People would probably think that that's an Owen Hart sticker, not a Rocky Maivia sticker. But so we came across them, and this was, I mean, you probably came across them early on as well, before the prices started really shooting up. And it was in Egypt or something daft like that, where they were,
that's it.
I shouldn't say that, but like in Egypt. And that's where they were. And we got a couple of them, and then we missed out on it, and it all went through the roof. And then I bought a full box and an album from someone in Qatar. And what he said, he told me the story on how those sticker albums actually came to be and how they were found. And I don't know if you know this or not, but when the World Cup got announced for Qatar, there was all this interest in like sticker albums, football sticker albums all of a sudden. So in Egypt, there's like a Panini office or something like that, something daft, like, or a factory. And this one person who was friends with the person that I bought the stuff from rang them and was like, oh, what have you got? And they were going through their inventory, and they were like, oh, well, we've got boxes of World Cup 90, we've got World Cup 94, we've got Euro 92, we've got some wrestling album from 97. And that's how it happened. And he was like, oh, I'll buy the lot. And he bought them all because they all came from one seller. If you remember, originally, he had just sealed boxes of them. Yeah. You're just, probably taking over his entire house.
Must have got them in.
Yeah. And he got them for probably...
I was going to say, he must have got them in on like the pallet load, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he probably could never have predicted, because once Hawkins and Ryder, and I like Hawkins and Ryder, but I've argued with Zack Ryder a lot, on a card owner, I should say, a lot about trading cards and stuff. And I'm just like, you're the NWA champion, man. Stop arguing with some daft lad in Newcastle. And even though I would still say I'm right on this, and I might ask you about this, but what I think his influence, no matter how much he wants to admit it or not, he has an influence over, the value of things. And if he just mentions something on this podcast, no one wanted stomp figures until he mentioned them. And now, and then stomp figures went for money for a bit. Now no one cares again, but he does have an influence on these things. And these rookie Rocky Maivia stickers, he definitely had an influence over that. And because he's the world's biggest influencer in wrestling memorabilia, what does he expect?
He's got a huge reach, and I remember seeing these coming out of the woodwork, and they're exploding, because prior to that, everyone believed that the Cardinal Series 1, I think, the Rock, where he was Rocky Maivia on the quiz game, was the rookie. So everyone was going mad for that, and then these 97 ones came out, and everyone started going mad for that, and then they're charging £300-400 for like a single pack. Not even the actual rookie sticker itself. And I remember looking at them and laughing and thinking, "No, I'm not bothered. I'm not interested at that price. That's silly." And I just remember seeing it skyrocket and think, why? There was And it's not even a rare card, a rare sticker in the set, is it? Let's look at the pull rate. It's very common.
Yeah, when I got my seal box, I was thankful that it had all the Rocky Maivia stickers in there, because I was like, those are the ones I'll not be able to get if, but it's one of those self-perpetuating things. They shouldn't be worth anything, but because someone says they are, everyone follows it, and then it makes it impossible to get, and then etc. So, but the thing is with that cardinal thing as well, which I thought was just ridiculous in my opinion, they're not trading cards. They come in a full set in a game.
There's no rarity. So they're printed at the exact same number value. They're exactly the same numbers available. There's no rare ones apart from what would be more in demand. There's no rare ones. No. I've got out of pure novelty value, I got the fake diesel graded. It's not a very good grade, but I just find it as a novelty card. I find it hilarious. I think it's one of the funniest cards because they tried to still pass it off as it being diesel, of course, But I've been speaking to a collector in the UK, and he's got a very nice condition set of the Series 1, and he's going to be sending quite a few off to go and get graded. But he said to me, which ones are the rarest? And I said, well, none of them are the rarest. Some are just in more demand than the other. Some will prefer to have the Brett Series 1 than Vader. It doesn't matter. There is no rarity. It's just what's more in demand. He's specifically looking to get them graded to sell. So he's not collecting them for his own collections. So he's happy that the prices are high at the moment on those cardinal ones.
Yeah.
That's to his benefit that they're higher. So I think just as a question, I just want to throw in there from your, I want to pick your brains on it. Do you think that, because we've seen rare cards that no one knows about go cheap, but we've then also seen rare cards that are so expensive because people know they're rare. Do you think that there's some people have some sort of influence on the market? I mean, obviously Zach doesn't need to have influence from a financial perspective, but do you think there are people that try to purposefully influence the market to drive those prices up just for their own gain?
Of course there is. I mean, you see it with every wrestler ever now. Like, Skinner's rookie card, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Like, it depends on the wrestler. But you've seen the thing of Undertaker won't sign those cards from the 91 set anymore. But the thing is, though, is it a rookie card if you've got like 4 cards in the same set as well?
Oh, now that's a talking point, because me and Kev have gone through this a few times. So would you consider a rookie card, if you've got 4 cards in the same set, do you consider the earliest numbered card in that set the true rookie, or would you say the portrait or the promo one of that wrestler, like not in ring or not the in ring action one, but the portrait? Is that the rookie card? This is a conversation we have quite a lot.
If it was me, I would go for earliest numbered if you have to. But I mean, this is the argument I had with Cardona was actually over the Triple H cards. And I still stand by this because he was the magazine cutout cards. Actually, I wish I could pick this up and show you, but I'll be making too much noise. I've got a full set of those because I bought them at the time of the magazine subscription perforated cards, of which the UK got about maybe 10 of them in total because they were just added in as freebies, but in America you had to subscribe to get them. So there's a studio shot of Triple H, and everyone was like, that's the rookie card for a bit. And I was just like, well, no, it's not, because there was also an action shot of him before that. And then there was also an Italian Panini set before that, which is what I showed to Cardona. And if we're going by rookie trading cards, I don't class these magazine cards as trading cards because, again, they're made at the same amount. You don't need to trade them because they come in a sheet. They're not like invisible blind bags and stuff like that. So, that was the argument with me. And now, because eBay would I don't even know if it was on purpose, but I think it was just lack of knowledge. They would say the studio shot of Triple H from the perforated card or his the cardinal card was rookie cards. And I'm just like, you're just making that up based on no knowledge whatsoever. It's like the Undertaker cards, that white 1991 set that was in English and in German. I can never remember the name of it, but like people are saying that those Undertaker cards are the rookie cards, but it's like they're not.
Berlin.
If we're being technical, it's the blue classic set. So
Merlin set you're thinking
I
of
could
there.
whinge about that.
And they hit stores. Yeah, they hit stores late 91 because I remember picking up a set thinking these are totally different to the blue, with the Undertaker. But you're on about Triple H there. Like the value of that Cardinal Triple H card 2-3 years back was on par with The Rock and Stone Cold for that set. If you look now, it's massively dropped.
It's crazy. It's not even like the first 5th Triple H card. You know what I mean? Like, well, the funny thing is, the only sheet that I didn't have was the sheet with the Triple H rookie card from the magazine set. And I thought, well, I'll never get it for a decent price. One person had it on eBay for $20, and it came with the other side flap bit, and it's signed by Sonny. Which may take the value off it for all I know. But the thing is that I love, because it's the most new generation set. I'm looking at it right now because I haven't put it away, but it's like Skip and Sonny, Rad Radford, Doc Hendricks, Waylon Mercy, Techno Team 2000, Bertha Faye. And it was like, these are the superstars that will launch us into the next millennium. And,
it's like a red-orangey background, isn't it? It's like the red-orange to the side, and I'm sure he's looking side on. Is it that set?
That's the studio shot. These are like, it's kind of weird. Shot, they had 2 different sets of catalog numbers, I guess, where the original 95 set with the block blue, green, purple background, they went up to a number. And then when they started the set that you're talking about with the different colors per set, the blue, the orange, the green, etc., they started the numbers all over again. So technically there's 2 different collections, I guess. And that's when they started doing the big side cards as well, of like Brett and Triple H and Ahmed Johnson, and 2 of those sets also had like a builder picture of Warrior and Michaels as well. There's like a reverse to the front of the card.
I had that magazine once, but it's gone. I mean, years back, it was just in a sealed magazine, and for some reason, it's like, I'll trade it up for a figure. Why? We all do silly things, I suppose.
I was very lucky with that set. I didn't even think that set would arrive, because I thought they would just like see cents. And but like I say, 20, and I never talk about the price of anything I've paid for anything, but I was quite happy with that. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So Pablo, on to the wrestling cards. Which is your favorite set, and do you have a set of that?
Oh, favorite set. The one that immediately comes to mind is the 1994 action-packed set.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Good choice. That is my favorite set too. Very good choice. Very good choice.
So I have that in the gold box, with the WWF logo embossed on it. I've got the 95 set as well, and it's just not quite as nice, but I love the Lawrence Taylor promotional card, and I love the giant cards. Like, I don't know if they were promotional or for sale, but I've got the Nash one signed somewhere. Like, I've got because in the 94 set they also did the prototype cards of the Savage and Taker. I do have those, but I don't have the signed ones. I mean, I would kill for the signed one, but you see unsealed packs all the time, and I'm just like, surely they've all been accounted for by now.
I've bought a few sealed packs of it because I've tried to hunt that. It's one of the autographs. Now I'm only aware of 2 of the autographs that were done, but I've heard rumors of a 3rd. So I know that there was the Undertaker, and I know that Macho Man did some, and I think the Undertaker was the only one to sign all 250 cards he was allocated. Macho Man didn't do the 250. That's why they're an awful lot harder to get, from what I've heard. But then I've also heard that Shawn Michaels signed some, but his are even rarer. Now, I don't know if that's true with Shawn Michaels.
If they were, they weren't advertised, because in the WWF magazine there is an advert saying look out for randomly inserted, Undertaker, Macho Man cards. But I mean, it's not. There's one other example I know of cards not getting signed when they should have, and it was one of my other favorite sets, because I'm a huge Christian fan, so my Christian card collection is decent. over the past, when he returned in like 2014, it just started getting out of hand with the cards. So I'm not as, anything from 2014 onwards, I've probably got about 50% of those. Anything from 2014 beforehand, I've got about 95% of those cards. I'm just glad that like John Cena is not my favorite wrestler, because otherwise it'd be impossible to collect. But the Raw's War 2001 set, which I'm a big fan of, where they did various subsets, and they did autograph cards. So you did like Christian, Undertaker, loads of names. And they also did relic cards where you could get a piece of chair from like a concerto and stuff like that. So like another example of not signing cards that I know of is Triple H did not sign any of his cards, any of them. And you could get redemption cards, which look like the autograph cards, but they basically just said redemption card. Those are rare because everyone sent those back for the autograph cards, basically. So I'm looking for the Christian redemption card if anyone's out there. But the Triple H didn't sign any of those. So then instead, he ended up signing, what was it called? Was it Beyond the Ropes or something like that, where it was... there was a subset called Famous Rides, and you had like Vince's jet, and you had DDP driving the limo to the ring at Mania 6 and stuff like that. So instead, and they kind of give you real facts about the wrestlers as well, but he signed those cards instead. For whatever reason, he didn't sign those cards. But yes, anyway, 1994 Action Pack set would certainly be a top contender, top contender for me. Yeah.
Do you just stick then to WWF, WCW, or would you branch out to like the BBM Japan, the independent scene, or is it anything goes with you, Pablo?
It's largely WWF. Now, I think some of the first cards I ever got, because they came with, you're jogging me memory now, like this, it was the WCW comics that came out in like 1990 to 92-ish, 92, 93 maybe. And they would come with individual trading cards. And I've still got the Sting and the Vader card from those. And I've still got the Pogs are showing up everywhere now. Me and Mark did an article in the latest Inside the Ropes about Pogs. That was entirely my collection on display there. Those Pogs were available in WH Smith. And there were only 3 trading cards in those sets. So that's like the easiest set of cards to collect in the entire world.
A Razor, a Shawn, and a Diesel. Just those 3. Diesel. That was it.
Yeah. So you can see who was getting all the royalties in 95. Well, I mean, when you think of who else was in that set, though, it's mind-boggling. We could have got a Mantor card. We could have got a Portuguese Man of War. What's that set that came out in 95 that is just ridiculous?
Is that the German set?
I think it's no. Yeah, I'm sure. Was it not Italian? That's the set that I argued had the first Triple H card in, but it's like people like Skip and Mantor and Man Mountain Rock and all those kinds of.
It's unbelievable.
And you're looking at like 40, 50 quid per card at least for those.
Yeah. I've got the German set from 95. It's like a whiteboard of that one.
Yes, because they actually went back to that set a few years ago in America with the Turn Back the Clock.
That's it. You get like they're on an angle, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, there's an Italian set in 95 which is just insane. The pictures are amazing. Like there's Mabel and Mo and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, sorry.
The true golden era of wrestling.
Yes.
So is it cards or you into your stickers as well, or is it just the albums, sticker albums?
It's sticker albums as well, but I kind of I was collecting them at the time, and then I did what probably everyone does, is cut the stickers out of the album, then you ruin your album and all that kind of stuff. And then it was about 10-15 years ago before all of this kind of kicked off, and one person had completed the 1990 set, the 91 set, the blue set, the UK 92 set, not the Serbian one, the other one that you can buy, like you could walk along the street and find 10 packs lying on the floor at this one. And you had the 93 Brett set, which is my favorite set, the 94 Taker set, the 95 set, all together completed for like 50 quid for the lot. And I was just, and I won them, and I was just like, you know what, sorted, but since then I bought one of my other favorites is the Italian 95 sticker set. With a few different wrestlers like Bam Bam on the cover and stuff like that. That's a lovely set because that has the poster inside that folds out in like a trifold, and then you get all the logos,
the shiny stickers on that.
The shinies, which I know everyone's going mad for at the moment because people are getting like their figures graded with the graded shiny
sticker, alongside it, isn't it? Yeah,
it's crazy. All those 94 stickers seem to be showing up randomly now as well, and I've got a couple of sealed 93 packs. I would love a few more. But trying to find those is quite hard. I do love the stickers as well, I've got to say. And I had tons of fun sticking in the 97 album because I'm one of those rare people that bought that 97 album to actually try and complete it instead of just selling on the Rocky Maivia stickers.
there is actual fun to completing an album and chasing one down. Or another thing is with completing sticker albums is you can get one off-centered and it would knacker the whole page up. And it's like, I need to get this again.
That did me head. The amount of stickers I was putting in, and then I found a better one, and I had to carefully peel it out and then put another one. This is stuff you don't care about as a kid quite as much, but now it's like it's paramount to have that going on. But I have those stickers, but I mean, there's various other things like the old the puffy stickers that came out during the Rock and Wrestling time period, which were like you put your 20 pence in the machine and you got a sticker out, and so they did them that big, and then they also did a thing like a 30 centimeter with a various few different ones, and it's the only piece of WWF memorabilia to have Mad Maxine on it, and me and Janine are friends because I reached out to her and she was like, "You remember who I am?" And I was just like, "Yes, you mint." And it turns out that she had family that lived in Edinburgh, so I was able to go up. So we've hung about a few times, and I just asked her all the questions. I interviewed her as well, which was when that book came out, which was very nice to do. So she signed one of those puffy stickers for me. But there's different variations of stickers and cards that I'm a fan of as well. But yeah, I know I rant far too much.
Well, would you do like signed stickers, signed cards? Is that for you, or is it just the image alone? Are you happy with that, mate? Or
I like the heritage autograph cards because one, they are legit proof of a thing that's been signed by that wrestler. Two, a lot of people don't go after a lot of them as well, and back in the day, I got the Paul Bearer one for like $5. I got, there's a few who are passed away now, and the value might have went up since then. But I'm a big fan of those, especially I think it was the 2016 set where it looked like the autographs are in like a speech bubble. And there's like Akeem and Jake the Snake and Doink the Clown and all sorts of names. It might have been before that, but I'm a big fan of those. But I do get trading cards signed as well because I'm not keen on getting action figures signed because then you can't see the figure behind the thing. But yeah, I've got a few. I've got Nails.
Magic.
Nails. He has an eBay shop, and I bought because I came across it. I don't know how, but he was selling his SummerSlam '92 leather bag, which I've just sold on because I was desperate for money. I'll be honest, but all the staff got this leather bag given them by Wembley. And all it is a plain leather bag, but it has the Wembley logo with the SummerSlam '92 sign. And I was like, yes, I must own that. And he was also selling some of the gold trading cards with the yellow border. He had all three of them, and he signed those. But he also sold me the SummerSlam. I'm the only person in the world that will probably have the SummerSlam '92 program framed on the Nails versus Virgil match. And it's signed on both ends. But wow. He just writes his name. You know how Kane did his signature and just blocked capitals? Because he's been in prison for ages, man. He doesn't know how to write. So he just wrote his name and then wrote his...
like Kamala putting it upside down. And why would it look nice? That's
to
like his character, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I got him to put his prison number on it, which I used to know off by heart, but I don't know anymore. But... on the program, I got him to put "I am an innocent man, boss man," and all that kind of shit. All like really nerdy stuff that only people like us will get excited about.
Amazing stuff, isn't it?
But I do like cards of wrestlers who were there only during a very specific time as well, and cards that'll never get made again by WWF. They'll never go back through their picture catalog and be like,
So this is something we touched on the last show we recorded, where modern cards over the past 5, maybe 10 years, or probably 5 years, modern cards are replicating the older cards. So the WM3 set, they're now replicating those cards, and that was a couple of years ago, but they're taking the same layout, format, color scheme, and pictures, and then just sort of giving them a quick spin and then putting them back out as modern. So now, naturally, I'm going to take a punt here, and I'm going to say that you probably would prefer having the original vintage versions rather than the modern, nicer, shinier, probably better condition ones. Am I right in that assumption?
I like all of them, I'll be honest. I kind of, it gets to a point with like Slam Attacks where they use the same picture of Bret Hart, and I'm just, for the 10th year running, and I'm just like, there comes a point. Like, I only collect, I'm very specific. I have a cutoff point of WrestleMania 14 is my cutoff point. So if the picture of Austin's from a month after it, I can't have it. But if it's from like a month before, I will have it. So I don't have like completed Legends. I only collect the Legends cards anyway, but they do so many spin-offs and, like the living set and all that kind of stuff. I don't go out of my way to make sure I get every set that comes out because there's so many now. But I love the that subset of the In Your House cards that are in the shape of the houses.
Oh yes, they are nice. Yeah, there's an Undertaker one that looks really nice. Yeah,
but I wouldn't go out of my way necessarily to get like if there's a green 1 of 10 or something like that. I would just happily get the silver one. As long as I have a picture of it. And I like seeing, because it's like with the figures now, they're able to delve more deeply into certain things that the cards back then didn't do. So it's nice to have like a match commemorated. Okay, I'll tell you my favorite subset of all time is by a mile is the King of the Ring subset that came with a piece of the banner. It was tops from like, I want to say 2016, 2017. So it was every king that they could legally do from the house show, so like Harley Race, Don Morocco, all the way through to Bret Hart, Ken Shamrock, Triple H, Austin, and Lesnar. And you got a piece of the King of the Ring 93 banner. The only thing that did me head in about that, Regal, I think, was the newest one that they did, of Sheamus or something like that. They said specifically King of the Ring 93, so I wanted the Bret card. And I really went out my way to find it. The picture they used was 2010 picture of Bret, and I'm just like, that's horrendous. Why have you done that? That could have been the greatest single trading card of all time. That's one thing that does me head in about new cards, is if they do like, say, a fantasy match, or if they do whatever, they'll use a completely not right picture from the wrong era and whack it on the card. And then, that can put me off, like, to be honest. That can put me off getting something. I'm a bit, I've got no room to speak because I've probably got too many Outback Jack trading cards for anyone to really, assume that I have a social life. But, I'm reasonly picky because otherwise you would never stop collecting trading cards.
Yeah. I think you have to have a cutoff, don't you? I just for people that are probably asking questions, why have you set yourself the limit of WrestleMania 14? That's your kind of cutoff. You don't want to go past that. What is it about that point where you now don't want to go any further forward for the most part with collecting?
It felt like a season finale to me. Like it was just like, it was the end of this. The credits could have rolled after WrestleMania 14 and then there'd be no, don't get me wrong, I loved the Attitude Era and I watched it really hardcore until about like 2008, and I still watch bits and bobs now, but WrestleMania 14 is just such the perfect event for me, and it's kind of the turning point of everything I loved before that leading up to ahead, and it almost felt like they pushed the reset button after WrestleMania 14 and I don't
went to another level.
Yeah, and
Just,
I mean,
yeah,
it was a
I get
different
where you're
booking
coming from.
philosophy. It was
Yeah.
everything like the presentation. And don't get me wrong, I love that Raw after WrestleMania 14, where Austin stuns Vince for the second time, and where the new DX come together, and all that kind of. Dan Severn makes his debut, all that kind of stuff. I love all of that. It's one of the greatest Raws ever, in my opinion. But it made sense for me just to cut it off at that point, because the show does change at that point, and it becomes like a different WWF to me. Not a one that I don't like, but that's just, you know.
I think they've won the war then, haven't they? They've won the war against WCW. WCW is never the same after it.
It could be argued, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got so many cards representing WrestleMania 14 because nothing goes past that. It was a Fleer 2001 set. I can't remember what was the name of the set, but it's a Austin versus Michaels. And it comes with a piece of a Steve Austin t-shirt, but it has a bit of the white N from the Austin 316. That's quite a nice card. That I don't have tons of like really, really nice cards, but that's a one that I really like.
Yeah. Would you ever see yourself chasing like a Hogan 82 rookie card? Or I don't know, would you ever get into that field, or is that something totally against you?
You give me too much credit for the amount of money that I don't have. I'll look at it see it as you see a star, you know, see it from where you are, you know, don't start contacting card donor or, you know, card donor. No, because the thing is, I would love all the cards from the ice cream bar sets. I would love that 95 set. Those are like the impossibilities for me that one day I would love to have them, but I'm not expecting to have them. I would love to have all the Christian cards, but again, you still come across the odd one that you've never seen before. Like I've got their Canadian Rockies one as well, which I mean went for no money at the time, but again, because rookie cards are going for so much now, I think the values went up on that. But you come across like little subsets as well. Like I've got this, it's a 2-card set of Rock and Mankind that were made by HarperCollins, the book company, to launch their biographies, and they're the only 2 cards from that set. And I think they were like it was a subset of the SmackDown set that came out in like 99. And they were only available if you went to HarperCollins, and there's just little things like that. I do.
So would they be a UK thing then with the Rock and Mankind?
I think they were American, because I think it might have even specifically been for, I don't know if it was an autograph signing or a book launch or something like that, but I didn't get them for much, I'll be honest. And they're probably quite common because everything during the Attitude Era was made in an abundance. So, you know, and it's not something I would have went out my way to look for, but they were cheap, I'll be honest, and they were nice, and there's only 2 of them, so it's easy to complete
that's the beauty with wrestling cards, because it doesn't have to be expensive, does it? You can pick up a card for £2 and it gives you a buzz. Like,
It doesn't have to be expensive, but bloody is. Like Mark Fox,
that troublemaker.
Oh, don't fall asleep, Mark, or we'll have your cards. He got the bubblegum set that came out in like 89. Right. There was a couple of different sets. Zeus is in the set, and like Tony Schiavone. There's a one with a red background. There's a one with blue backgrounds. He got them for like a tenner each or something insane like that. And I'm just like, how did you manage that? And he was just, look. And again, it's like with me talking about that sheet. There's no way I should have got that for 20 quid. But, you know, if that's what they wanted to sell it for, I'm certainly not going to try and convince them otherwise. But with cards, I do like cards that are based off pay-per-views as well. I'm a big fan of pay-per-view branded oddity stuff. That's a lot of what my collection is.
What's your favorite pay-per-view? Oof, I've got him thinking. I knew.
No, because it's a controversial one. But if I love SummerSlam '93. Yes, I know the balloons are ridiculous at the end. But I love that event so much. It has an energy to it, and I mean, I love Mania 9, Mania 10, Mania 14. Like that's a huge one for me. But there's something. It might just be connected to the childhood or whatever. But like anytime they come out with a card based off SummerSlam '93, like there's a Luger Yoko card, which is quite nice, and you see Earl Hebner's head because he's tiny, like popping up just above the card, just his forehead. But SummerSlam 93 would have to be my favorite.
Yeah, again, like you mentioned about WrestleMania 9, I love the pay-per-view. SummerSlam 93, it's way up there. Survivor Series and Rumble, they were great pay-per-views, and I don't know why it gets so much hassle. It should be appreciated.
Well, SummerSlam, because of the count-out victory, that's why. And it just seemed daft that Luger... I always had this theory, because it's like they had the balloons ready, so it's like, so if Yoko would have won, would they just have released red and white balloons, for the Japanese flag? Or maybe like tons of white balloons with one red one in the middle.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
The whole Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez, it was like, people give it a lot of stick, but when you're watching an athlete that big, it was great when you're
There's not enough Giant Gonzalez trading cards out there. I'm hoping now Zeus is under a contract, there'll be some Zeus trading cards.
There's enough Giant Gonzalez cards. The 91 WCW set with about 15 Gonzalez cards in it, and they're just the same match. It's all of him in the pink top. It's the exact same. It's just the photographers click happy on the same one.
There's the 93 German set as well, which the 93 German set though, because they want to get his full body in shot. It actually makes him look tiny because he's like that tall. It's kind of, but his arms are in the air as well, just to but it doesn't really work on a trading card unless he stood next to someone like Harvey, but he's not on this card, so yeah.
Dr. Harvey Whippleman. Yeah, so I'm gonna say the modern stuff. Do you bother with that AEW? The Panini lot with WWE, or is that way over?
Because they didn't put a bloody Christian card in the AEW set, so screw them. They went out of the way to add a Daniel Bryan and a Punk card later on, from what I heard, because the set had come out before they came in or something like that, and there's no bloody Christian card in the entire set, and I'm not happy. So don't get me wrong,
go to hell.
They can go to hell. All will be forgiven if they do. But the thing is, the AEW figures now are coming with trading cards, and I don't know if they're exclusive to the figures. It's blind as well, then like a silver foil wrapper. But I still don't think there's any Christian card. He's getting screwed, I'm telling you. I've got loads of TNA Christian cards. They did them right. There's cards where they cut his jacket up and put them as a bit of like a relic, and there's a few autograph ones. There's one based off the video game where he's kicking someone in the head, Sonjay Dutt or something like that.
Great times for TNA back then, honestly. 2007, 2008. It's just, I think that's like massively like undervalued in the wrestling world, TNA.
It really is. And the thing is though, people, and because I love Christian, like anything he did in WWE, I was happy with, even if he was being underused or whatever. Like, it was frustration, but a lot of people who are watching him in AEW probably maybe only saw a bit of his last run in WWF. They don't know what his heel work was like in TNA. He was one of the best heels there. And luckily now they're getting a chance to see it. And I think they've rushed that Luchasaurus thing far too quickly, in my opinion. Because I was about to buy a Luchasaurus figure just because, the connection. And then my mate was like, I wouldn't bother. They've already broken them up. And I'm just like, okay, fair enough. You just saved us 20 quid. That's good.
Yeah. So I think... Just to go through for people that aren't aware, what's the rookie card for Christian? Which one is the official? Is there an official version or is there controversy?
Okay, you're gonna get me mind working now. So the Canadian Rockies card, that Japanese card, would be his first ever trading card. But for WWF, it would be the SmackDown series, of which there was a plain card, and it's the one where he's jumping out the ring onto Al Snow. And I shouldn't know this. It was a Sunday Night Heat, because it's Heat's on the apron, and he's wearing his red gear with his white top, and there's a chrome version of that as well. And then there's also a Brood card in the set, and that was from the pilot episode of SmackDown, where the Brood are getting interviewed by Michael Hayes, and that's the first time you heard Edge talk on camera. And then Hayes gets bloodbathed, and then that's when he joined the Hardys as a result of that. And there's a chrome version of that as well. So that would be his first singular trading card.
Yeah. And then what's your favorite Christian card? Dare I ask that question to you here? In fact, I tell you what, I will let you have two. You can tell me your two favorite, because I bet you won't be able to pick one.
Oh, I'd have to flick through, wouldn't it? The Concerto card that comes with the bits of chairs. Like that's just wonderful. And without just making loads of dead air, there's a
quickly.
Yeah, there's a fun card that it was like a series of 10 cards that came with what's that chemist in America that did wrestling figures for a bit as well? Walgreens, I think. And there's a series of cards from that, and it's all like don't take drugs adverts on the back of them. So like the Christian one says, don't be a Rikazoid, don't, shoot up smack or something. I'm paraphrasing, you know what I mean? But like he did say don't be a Rikazoid on it. But that's a really colourful card. There's also like a Taiwanese. I'll have to show you the Christian cards, but like there's a Taiwanese card. It was an official game, WWE, and it's just as Middle Eastern as you can imagine, just like shiny, refractory with all of the language that I can't read. And then there's the picture of Christians in these Bret Hart singlet attire, red. That period of Christian. There's not many cards of that, but I know you said just 2. So the chair card certainly, and maybe one of his TNA cards because they did them right. I like the it's a dual autograph plus bit of his jacket. And I got the gold bit as well with one of the scales from his jacket as well, not one of the shite black bits that anyone cares about. But yeah, those will be the 2.
Is there any card stickers other than Christian or even Christian that you're trying to track down, finding hard to get? Is there anything that you need or wanting?
Oh, I'm trying to track down. That's a hard one. See, I've got the earliest WWF set, the 85 set. I've got the Mania 3 set. I got the I think they come with crisps or something like that. It's a set of 20 and they come in like little packets and they're like little square cards. I've got a set 80s, of them.
80s, aren't they?
Yeah, like 86, 87, and there's a picture of Roddy, to go slightly off topic, there's a picture of Roddy Piper on one of those cards, and that picture is from King of the Ring 86, which was recorded. And people were in doubt over that until Harley Race passed away, and then they showed some video clip, and then everyone lost their minds. And the shout, basically, me and 3 other people are shouting at the network to put that show on the network. But but what I'm looking for currently, I probably always more Christian cards, but I know you said I can't say that. It's kind of hard to say. I know it's a cop-out answer, but I don't think there's anything I'm actively looking for. Not that I have all the cards by any means, but I guess if I was, it might be like, say, pay-per-view promotional cards or something like that, if any of those exist.
Something wacky that's out there. The next minute, I'm not looking for cards. You go on eBay. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Tell you what, I wasn't collecting any cards until they started doing heritage cards, and then I was lucky to be working in a wrestling shop, and we were able to get some of them in, and we were able to find the autograph cards because you do the bendy thing and all that kind of thing. And it was 2007, whatever series that year's series had come out, and my boss was like, "Oh, we've already got the heritage card, the autograph card out of it," and I was like, "Okay," but I'll keep buying the packets. And this was after Benoit, and he was the signed card. There was still a signed Benoit card and also a Kane card. So this was like a mental pack of figures. But yeah, there was a Benoit card in there. But anyway.
It's good. Well, we need to track that down for you, Pablo. So we'll find something wacky for you. And
any Doink the Clown cards, any Matt Borner's Doink the Clown, I'm always happy for. I've got a little Doink shrine over here. It's got his signed heritage card. It's the Alan and Genta Doink cards in there, and a couple of the later, because he was in last year's trading card set, which I was over the moon about, as a legend. So yeah,
always on the lookout for Matt Bourne Doink. Well, that was our last episode. Hopefully we've done him some credit for you there.
Oh yes,
that's it, yeah.
Love a bit of old Krusty. What an absolute genius, man. So good, Matt Bourne. Just way above his time, mate.
He was, and not just as Doink as well, but I'm a huge fan of original evil Doink.
Yeah, I think we kind of identified that Evil Doink was much better than the family friendly Doink. So
by a mile.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of wraps us up. I think we've covered an awful lot of ground. You've been an amazing first guest for us to have here on the SWC Submit Wrestling Cards podcast. I think it's only fair and fitting and absolutely right for you to have one final shout outs from your side. So any promotions, anything you want to get out there on the world from this side, go right ahead. And I think that kind of wraps us up really. So yeah, say your piece.
Oh, thank you. Well, Turnchuckle on Instagram, where you can see pictures of the collection, all that kind of thing. And there's also because I have Turnchuckle, the podcast as well, where I also interview wrestlers outside of the Chella thing, and bbgwrestling.com. That's where you can find anything that I've ever done podcast wise, wrestling wise. But also Mark Fox is writing for Inside the Ropes magazine, and I'm helping out with that. So my name and picture show up once in a blue moon in those. Not every month, but I'm honored to be helping out with that. And Barry Darso coming up soon, and just get in touch, because I'm probably always prepared to potentially trade some cards. Come at me with Christian cards. I'll I'll do a dance for them or something like that. But that's basically where you can find me for all all above board purposes.
It's been a good episode. It's been good though, and fellow wrestling fan, that's what we like to hear, isn't it? Really enjoyed the chat, Pablo.
Just don't shut up. That's my problem.
That's good for a podcast. This is good because you need people to talk. Basically, if it was the other way, you wouldn't be a very good guest.
No, that is true. That is true.
But
I feel like I could go another hour just talking about trading cards. Though I didn't even pull any out that we could go through and stuff. But
there's always there's always another episode. So I think we're absolutely gonna probably look at bringing you back on again for another chat in the future. So yeah, absolutely. But I think that kind of wraps us up. Kev, if there's anything final you want to say, I think that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you to yourself, Jack. Thank you to Pablo. You're at Submit Wrestling Cards. Thank you very much. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
And that about wraps it up for another edition of the Submit Wrestling Cards podcast with myself, Jack, and my good friend, Kev. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube, and keep an eye out for the next upcoming episodes. And now a quick word from our sponsor, Wrestling Cards Worldwide.
Hi, I'm Michael, and I run Wrestling Cards Worldwide, and I'm proud to be associated with the Submit Wrestling Cards podcast. We've got thousands of cards and stickers from all different eras on the website, and if you check out the link on the podcast, they'll give you an exclusive discount code for the website.
Thank you very much, and until next time, bye.